the time to dig deep underneath this rain.
Hi, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Well, today's another quick sketch before I head out because when I get home I'm too freaking tired after a long day's work. Okay, so this is a sketch that I had done of my version of Static Shock. He's wearing like this black shirt with some blue accents. He's got his little icon right here. I was thinking about doing like his hands like pulling the jacket open. Kind of like a Superman thing. It's a thought because that would help me complete this part right here. But yeah, this I want to do on a treated baby oil cardstock. It's 100 pounds. It looks like it's already started to pick up stuff. Okay, and I'm going to be using Crayola pencils, crayons, and markers. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to whip out some colors here. I don't really have a source image for his face and his colorings, so I'm going to kind of wing it. Let's see what we got here. And I'm going to go to my usual go-to colors. I have like a peach and apricot for some base tones. I've got brown. I'm going to be using that around his profile. Let's see. I usually use white. And let's see. I think that might end up being all I can do today. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline it, what I currently have. And when you treat cardstock and watercolor paper and Bristol with baby oil, it gives you this, it makes your paper transparent. Usually it's opaque, just like this. You know, this kind of paper. This is just mixed media paper. And I kind of like the effect that this cardstock has. I'm going to bring it up a little higher, about right. We'll just try to keep him a little centered. I don't want to cut off his hair too much, but I'm going to end up losing part of his symbol, so it's the downside. So I guess I will be cutting off a little bit of his hair. We'll just like kind of cut off each of them equally. Okay, alright. And I'm just going to trace around the outside. I'm going to use, let's see, I'm thinking about using white around the edges instead of, now I'll use brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up coloring it to the point where I won't need the source image here. And I'm not going to use hard, what's the word, outlines. So everything here is either going to blend in some way, shape, or form. Now around this part right here where his mask is, I should have used either like a light blue, and I think I'll do that, either a light blue or a light gray, because brown is a little harder to kind of blend away on something that's really super light. But his face, I'm basically going to just try to use colors. Now the gray is not a bad thing to outline with either, because it looks like it'll be an easier color to go over. Now the reason why I coat it with baby oil, not only to make it transparent, but it also is a little slicker. And it really picks up the colored pencil extremely well. I apologize. Let me bring this down a little bit so that you can see what's going on at the top here. I'm trying to monitor my stream as well as what you guys can see on your end, because sometimes one is a little bit bigger than the other. And I drew this one on the bus. Usually I like to show my work, you know, where I got the inspiration from, and you know, to show the process from beginning to end. It does make for a longer video, especially if I'm doing the picture from scratch and like completely no idea of what I'm going to do type perspective. But it also just gives you an idea that, you know, not perfect, and it's not staged. You know, like you know, you when you're an artist, you want to show your best, you know, of everything. You know, and it just gives you an idea of, you know, some of the struggles that, you know, other artists go through. So don't feel bad. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly do part of his jacket here. I'll just have it like just taper off. And I'm just quickly outlining everything. There we go. Now I'm not sure if this jacket on the inside here is a liner or if it's an actual second jacket that he's got on. Pretty sure it might be just a liner. I just see it attached in different ways. I've never seen in another part, but you know, sometimes I see this raised up and separated from the rest of the jacket. And this outfit is mostly black, so I'm going to probably end up using like a deep dark blue instead of black, or I might actually use black pretty sparingly. We'll see. Black kind of gets messy. Well, all the colors will get messy after a while. Okay, alright. And then his dreads, I'll go ahead and do like in a deep dark black, and, well, deep dark black, and a brown. This one actually has a dark brown. Yay. These are the colored pencils. The crayons, I use them a lot now. And I like them because I melt them. Let's see, this one, since I've got some fine details, I'll probably just use colored pencils in certain areas, and then use crayons when I want to do like a lot of area at once. Okay, he's got dreads. I just wanted to show them kind of messy, different sizes. In the cartoon, they're all pretty much uniform. And there's only like 4 that pop up. Okay. Alright. Now, if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me in the comments, and I will definitely answer, either in the next video or in the comments as well. And if you have a really good question, I'll go ahead and make a video of it as a response, you know, to show you different skills and stuff like that that I do. Okay, so I'm also going to do his hair here. I got to determine where I want my light source to be. If I want it to come this way, which will make my shadows appear on this side of the face and body, or if I want to do it like top down. Just want to try to figure that out really quick. Let me get the source image from the guy that I had here, and maybe that might help me make a decision. Let's see, if you draw from real life, or rather from a photo or source image, um, you can probably use some of the things, some of the aspects of that source image in your picture. And I'm going to do that very thing. Let me zoom in, control. Yeah, I've been wanting to draw this one particular person for a long time. Okay, his, it looks like the lighting is coming top down. So, or at an angle like this, kind of at an angle. So that's how I'm going to pretty much color this. I'm going to use the markers, and I'm going to put like kind of like a base layer. And what the base layer does is help me to overcome a little bit of the tooth of the paper. It's not necessary, but it's not bad either. Let's see, I'm going to use it in some of the dark spots. Let's see, I'm going to, well, first, let me throw my highlights on, because I don't want to lose those. And with my highlights, I'll be able to keep those. And if I happen to go over it, certain spots, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay, so doesn't look like my white. Okay, my white might need to be sharpened a bit. Let me sharpen up my pencil. And this is what I'm using as a pencil sharpener. It works really great with crayons as well, one of these dual ones. All right. This is all white right here. So I'm just going to color this all in white. And then where I see that there's going to be some shadows on, really? My tip broke. It's okay, let's sharpen again. Yeah, where I see that there's going to be some shadow, I'm going to probably either use gray or blue. Probably blue, like a light blue, to emphasize that shadow. I could probably get away with using crayons on this. It's not too, the details aren't too fine, so I might be able to use my crayon in larger areas. The only thing is that if you use crayon, it will, you can't go back over it with colored pencil. So like say you have like a small area and you want to, you know, define it a little bit better with colored pencil, the colored pencil will scratch off your crayon. So if you're going to do both crayon and colored pencil, use your colored pencil first. Okay, so right now I'm just adding all the places where I think I'm going to have a highlight, because I don't want to lose them when I start to go over with my other mediums here, because it's easier to go, like I said, from a light color to a dark color than it is to go from a dark color to a light color. Also, I'm going to be using a heat gun so that I can dry some stuff faster. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of using, you know, like coloring everything in and then later adding the highlights, only because it's harder with Crayolas. It's not impossible, but it is a little bit more difficult. So you kind of want to plan your highlights first. just to keep them in mind. You don't want to cover them up with like black and then when I have to go back with white to certain areas. Now, I'm a big fan of Static Shock um, because it's a fun. I never got to read the comics. I haven't seen the comics, but I'm going to see if I can find them and um, and just read up more on the character because I'm sure he's a little different from the cartoon, which I loved. I love the voices. I love the music. It was next to Proud Family. It's pretty awesome. It was better than Proud Family. A lot more fun. It had some dark themes. It had a lot of humor, you know, and it's like I think it was a lot of fun. Okay, I'm gonna clean off my Crayola a little bit with just on a piece of cloth here, and I kind of use this cloth crayon in this white as well. I just really don't want to lose my highlights. Now, white is a good color to use. Let me turn this down a bit. White's a really good color to use here. Let's see, marker. That's a Sharpie. Oh, good. Okay, this is the dark blue. I don't want to use that just yet. I'm going to work from top to bottom, and I'm going to try not to jump around too much. So I'm going to work on the face first, and then work my way down this way. I really do want to work on the lighter colors first. That way, if anything happens, you know, they don't get too muddy or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to use my water brush, and this is what I've got right here. And a lot of my materials I bought from Walmart, so these guys are everything that I'm pretty much using is pretty affordable. Even this hot air gun, I bought this online for about $11. Water brush, this one was about $7 at Michael's. And this is a Pentel water brush, but they also sell a similar item that's a water brush at Walmart for like $3. I'm like, ooh. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm giving myself a base for the colors. So this one is brown, it's a dark brown. I'm going to use this in the shadows. And then when I add water to it, it becomes like a watercolor. And even now I could probably get away with using a little bit here, because this is like one of the darkest parts of his face. And I'll just apply that directly. And before it completely dries, I'm going to come by with my water brush and tease that color on down. And I'm also going to use a lighter brown right here. And these are all Crayolas. I'll put that down here as well. And I'm also going to add that right here. Because these are his darkest parts. And then I'll tease these colors down too. Okay. Oops. And I'm just bringing it on down. And just everywhere that I see where it's dark is where I'm going to add these colors here. Clean this off. The dark brown is a little too dark for what I need. Now if you want to protect your original picture, like say you're afraid you're going to make a mess, this is not a bad way to go ahead and protect your original work. So say you want to do static in like just in blues, you know, shades of blue, but you've already colored over it. So using a cardstock like this that's transparent is a great way to preserve your original. Also, protecting your original with a plastic sleeve is another good way to protect it from any baby oil, say, because this is treated with baby oil, and sometimes it'll have residue on it. This brown's not, it's not brown enough. Let's see, I want a dark, a little bit darker brown, so let me go ahead and add more of this tone. Okay. And if you're a fan of watercolors and of the markers, I really, really, really fell in love with them when I started using them on watercolor paper. You can really get some really good images or some really good work out of it with watercolor paper. Let's see. Okay, this was the brown that I liked. Okay, this is a subtle brown, which is fine. The character that I'm using is kind of light-skinned. And it also could be a trick of the light that he's outside and it makes him look a little bit lighter. So I'm going to add a little bit of these dark tones directly and then just tease them out and use them that way. And again, I'm going to be going over a lot of this with colored pencil and crayon. So none of this is final, it's just like a little base. And these are like some deep dark browns here. Okay. Now I'm using cardstock because it's nice and thick. It can hold the markers. The markers aren't, they're nothing like Copics with their tip. Copics have this awesome tip and it doesn't tear up paper. And I have a tendency of using those until they fall apart. Okay, just about done with a lot of what I'm doing here. Okay, not bad, not bad. Alright, now, I'm trying to decide if I want to use the colors down here. Probably going to end up using the crayons down below here just to color really fast and get the stuff on here. But the face I want to take a little bit more time on. Let's see. This here is a deep dark blue. Let me see what this looks like on here. It's not as dark as I thought it would be. Okay, so I'll put that like this. This will be like the darker side here. This will be very dark. This one up here is blue. It's either blue or yellow. I keep seeing different colors with this different outfits. His shades kind of change. This part should have been white, so I should have used like a lighter blue, but this is kind of like a nice shadow. And I'll tease that this way. And the closer I get to this way, it'll be way lighter. So I'm not going to do too much more with that. Just make sure this is nice and dark. Blue has a is a cool color, and it makes the browns darker. It just adds a little bit more to it. And I'll just go over this with a brown, and it'll make it a darker brown. Plus, it also brings in color from different other areas, so that also adds to the aesthetic of colors. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to use my heat gun because I want this part dry. So just give me a second. It's going to be annoying, so please bear with me. I'm going to turn off the sound so you don't have to hear this nonsense.